How we doing, everybody, and welcome in to Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. It is Thursday, June 6th, here in the great state of Wisconsin, or wherever you are tuning in from. Tons of great stuff happening in Wisconsin sports, tons of news happening in Wisconsin sports. I want to get to it all. We watched the Brewers. I shouldn't say great news coming out of that series there with the Phillies. Some good, some bad, right? I want to look at both sides. I want to look at the good that you could maybe take from that series, and also there's going to be the bad that comes out of a series like that. So Brewers get swept by the Phillies. We're going to be looking at that. Packers, they have, a little bit of news surrounding the Packers right now. I want to dive into the Packers a little bit today here. And then, kind of just see where the day takes us, right? See where the day takes us. Try not to get as long as we have the past couple days. Had some great guests on the show there, and the show ran a little bit long. We're going to try and get back to the norm today. We're going to try to get back to the norm. So, in baseball kind of news there, former Brewer Corey Hart. Now, if you don't, maybe you haven't watched the Brewers forever. Corey Hart played on the Brewers in the past year. He is coming out with a Milwaukee-made smoked lemon moonshine. It's going to be, wow. Corey Hart now into the alcohol game there. Got to give it a try, right? It's going to be a smoked lemon vodka moonshine. That, there could be two ways this goes. It could be very good. It could be one of those drinks that's very bad but can knock you off your feet, one of them kind of drinks. Or it might just be all around terrible and you can only stomach a little bit unless you, I don't know, really enjoy smoked lemons. I'm not sure on the flavor of smoked lemons. I can't say I've ever smoked a lemon. I have drank a whole lemon before. I'm talking peel. I'm talking everything else. Blend it up, drank it, gross. Grossest thing you would ever have. That was the grossest thing I've ever had, and I've had a lot of gross stuff in my day, and that had to be top tier. That was top tier right there. So Corey Hart coming out with the smoked lemon vodka moonshine. He's going to be making that with the help of Milwaukee Central Standard Craft Distillery. They're going to create that collaboration there. So, could be, I don't know. According to Corey Hart, he says after 11 years living away from Milwaukee, it felt like time to return for one more win. This moonshine is a small way to honor the city that always felt like home to me and pay tribute to the years of fans' love and support. The vodka, 30% ABV, is packaged in 750 milliliter bottles and is available exclusively at the distillery's restaurant in downtown Milwaukee for now, but they plan to expand the retail throughout Wisconsin in the coming months there. I don't know about. They said you can enjoy it on the rocks or mixed with club soda or in cocktails. I'm not the smoked lemon. I don't know about. I'm trying to I'm trying to imagine the flavor in my head right now, and I'm getting that lemony taste, but I'm also getting like a smoker kind of taste to it too. Like you just had a piece of meat off the smoker, like smoked lemon. That'd be interesting. That'd be it. If somebody tries it, you're going to have to send me a message, let me know how it tastes, because I don't know if I'm going to make it down to the Milwaukee distillery there. I don't know if I'm going to make it down there myself personally anytime soon. So if somebody gets down there, before I do, you let me know. You let me know what the heck it tastes like. And rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 to 10. Tell me how good it is. Maybe that'll deter me from heading down there anyways, right? That'll deter me out of it. So just an interesting tidbit there coming out of the Brewers. But let's stick with the Brewers then. We just talked a little Corey Hart. Let's stick with the Brewers. Brewers coming off a series loss, a sweep of the Phillies ended up sweeping the Brewers here. Now, I guess you could take your goods and bads coming out of this series, right? You could look at your bads, all right? You're looking at runners in scoring position, bad. Ability to hit with guys in scoring position. The still struggle with guys, we can get guys on, but struggle to move them. Productive at-bats, clutch at-bats, still have that same problem going on right now. In key situations, too. In key situations, we're struggling with it. And so you take your bads out of series. Mainly, honestly, a lot of people coming out of this series, and I've heard a lot of people saying, well, it's all about starting pitching. It's all about bullpen. It's all about starting pitching. It's like, okay, yeah, I totally agree. Maybe we do need an arm. Maybe we need an arm in the bullpen. Maybe we need an arm in the starting pitching staff. But I'll be honest with you, the starting pitching and bullpen did not lose this series to the Phillies. The offense did. The offense was not up to snuff, right? And the Phillies offense was held down. I mean, you look at the Brewers pitching staff over this series, Bryce Wilson gave up 3. You look at Colin Ray, 0. 0 runs given up. You look at a guy, Aaron Ashby, a guy who has struggled mightily since being injured to try and just find a way to make an impact in the rotation and the bullpen, doesn't matter for the Brewers. And he did. 5 innings, 2 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 strikeouts, 5 walks, 1 home run given up. That was the 2 runs. Was the home run to Castellanos. That was it. Castellanos kicked crap by the Brewers. I'll give him that one. He kicked crap by the Brewers himself. He had the walk-off, and he also had the 2-run shot that ultimately won this game. The Phillies' offense did not do that well against the Brewers' pitching staff. You look at them in total in that game against Ashby, 3 hits. 3 hits scattered across that game, and that was Ashby starting it, followed by Paredes, and then you had Milner, then you had Payams coming in at the back end of that. 3 hits. And the Brewers still lose that ball game. 3 hits to 3 hits in the game. Brewers had 1 hit against Aaron Nola. 1 hit against Aaron Nola. I guess I could be mistaken there. Maybe Contreras did end up getting a hit there against Aaron Nola late. I forget. It slips me there. Yes, he did have a hit against Aaron Nola. I lied there. That was my fault. He did have that double against Aaron Nola. So there was 2 hits against Aaron Nola on the game. Nola pitched well. I'm not going to say he didn't. There was a lot of good plays by the infield and even the outfield for this Phillies team. You look at that play, Contreras coming home, had to be a perfect throw from Alec Boehm. Now, a lot of people, saying maybe it could have been blocking the plate. The foot did slide in front. The rules are real iffy on that there, so you can't really say much about that, but there's a lot of plays that went the opposite way that maybe if a little luck changed in that game, maybe it changes the outcome, right? Maybe we're sitting here talking about a different scenario, but the Brewers could not find ways to hit with guys on base. They could not find a way. Get a guy in scoring position, couldn't figure out how to bring him in there. We look at the box off of the last couple games, and it was a lot of 0-fers with runners in scoring position. This one was 0 for 4. The Brewers were with runners in scoring position. They left 4 guys on base in total in this game. Doesn't seem like a crazy amount, right? But, that's the difference in a 2-0 ball game. That was a pitcher's duel. Look at the game before that. 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position. And, it just... The Phillies had good pitching throughout this series. I'm not going to say, I don't want to take anything away from the Philadelphia Phillies, how good they're playing right now. This team has been playing very well basically all season long. They have their little stretches where the offense does cool off a little bit, but the pitching staff is still great. We watched Zach Wheeler, now we saw Aaron Nola, and in between there, sandwiched in between the two, I'm pretty sure that was, what's his name? Sanchez. Sanchez threw from there, and Sanchez is probably the weaker link of those 3, I guess you could say, but Brewers struggle against lefties. And this was a lefty thrown out there. He gave up 4 hits on the game, 1 earned run, 3 strikeouts. That was it. That was it for the Brewers. They could not find a way. Didn't matter who it was, could not find a way. There was guys who had decent series. You look at Blake Perkins. Contreras had a good game 3 of the series there. But... So, that's your bad, is the runners in scoring position continues to be a problem. Now you face a good pitching team in the Phillies, and it, rears its ugly head one more time, right? And I'm not going to say the Brewers haven't faced good pitchers, because you look at the Cubs series, and we saw Imanaga, and we lit up Imanaga, right? I'm not going to say it's a difference there. It doesn't help you ran into a red-hot Phillies team in Philadelphia, right? This team is... I believe they're probably, I just was looking the other day there, and they were 25-9 at one point there at home. If it's not 28-9, it's 27-9 at this point right here. Just pulling up the standings here to see where they were sitting. 27-9. This is a Phillies team that's 27-9 at home right now. They don't lose. Rarely. do they lose when playing at home. Rarely do they lose at all. They have 19 losses in total. They're 44-19. I mean, relatively, they don't lose, but I mean, it's tough to beat a team at home, especially when they're hot, and this team was hot rolling into this game. You're talking about a team with a plus 104 run differential. Plus 104. That's, I mean, crazy numbers that this team's putting up so far. I mean, that's not saying anything against the Brewers. 36-26, 58, plus 58 there in the run differential. They're putting up runs too. I'm not saying that the Brewers are, just some slough, but it was one of those series. You're going to have those series throughout the season. You're going to get swept, right? I mean, this was the first sweep the Brewers have taken this year, been swept, and you're going to have series like that. It's going to happen. It's just, how does this Brewers team respond now? They're going to be heading and playing Detroit now. So how does this team respond on the road in Detroit against the Detroit Tigers team, who is, I mean, right now, middle of the pack there in the AL, but they're 6-4 over their last 10 games. Pitching is okay. Offense is okay. They're nothing crazy, but 6-4 in their last 10 games. They've been winning ball games. So how does this Brewers team respond heading to Comerica to take on the Detroit Tigers now? Because it's a little bit of a different type of series, right? You don't see these guys very often. It's an interleague game. Does that change anything for the Brewers heading into this one? I think, having this Thursday off is going to be huge. You need that off day. You just came off of you look at the schedule for the Brewers. They've had a little bit of a stretch here. You're looking at Boston, then they came back home for the Cubs and the White Sox, and then you bounce back and have the Phillies there. And, no days off in between. No days off. Contreras playing every day. Willy Adames playing every day. It's one of those things where we talked about it yesterday there on the show, and it was fatigue drawing in on William Contreras, because we've looked at his stats over the past 7 games, over the past 15 games. They've been a little bit down. Now, I'm not going to jump on his case because this guy carried the offense for a month or two on end, so I'm not going to get on his case yet about that. But maybe it's a fatigue thing with William Contreras, catching relatively every day. He's calling games. He's got to get in there and hit then. He's doing a little bit of everything. Maybe that's starting to drain on the body a little bit. Okay, so maybe this day off is going to help him a boatload. And maybe game 1 against the Detroit Tigers, maybe you just DH William Contreras, right? Maybe that's the key. You give him a day off, then you DH him. Now he's ready to go, right? He technically has 2 days off of catching then before coming back on Saturday. Maybe that's an option for him. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways you can look at it, right? The usage of guys throughout this lineup, but the Phillies are a great team. We know this. We know it looking at the record. We know it by watching this team. They have the pieces, right? This is a World Series caliber team in the Philadelphia Phillies, and they will only get better, as you would assume, will only get better as the season goes on. So, taking off from that Phillies series, the takeaways, the Brewers got to improve. The Brewers, they got to improve with with runners in scoring position. I mean, that's the biggest thing, right? I mean, runners in scoring position. Excuse me there. Something in the throat there. I mean, that's the biggest thing you got to look at with this Brewers team, is the ability to hit with runners in scoring position. And it really boils down to, they're one of the worst teams with the bases loaded. And I've always said it jokingly throughout the years, the Brewers are the one team that I know of with bases loaded and nobody out, they could find a way not to score a run. And I always said it jokingly, right? I've always said it jokingly. Now it's like you sit here and you watch and you look at the stats now, and it's like, no, that's true. Like, they do struggle mightily with the bases loaded, with runners in scoring position. They, early on this season, I'm not going to say they don't, but they're streaky. They get streaky with runners in scoring position, finding ways to bring guys in. That's what, you look at the difference. These were two, and I'm going to say it because there's a lot of people out there who probably will disagree. This was two good teams going at it here. Philly and the Brewers. This is two good teams. Two offensively good teams going at it. The Phillies found ways to score runs. Maybe sometimes unorthodox. Maybe it wasn't the way that they had drawn it up, right? I mean, you're talking Bryce Harper. You're talking Kyle Schwarber. You're talking Alec Boehm hitting well this year. You're thinking those guys are going to be the main cogs. I mean, I'm not saying Castellanos isn't a main cog in there, but you look along the way there. Sosa had an RBI for him. I mean, they had guys stepping in and creating offense that were kind of the second-tier guys. So, I mean, the Phillies found ways to win these games. The Brewers could not. That's the plain and simple. Like, the way that I look at it is you had two good teams going at it, and the Brewers just could not find a way. They could not find a way to win those games. That's the biggest takeaway I have from this series. Starting pitching, I mean, still sketchy, but they pitched well. I mean, you went into a series against a very good offense in the Phillies, and if I would have told you your starting pitchers for that series will be Bryce Wilson, Colin Ray, and Aaron Ashby, what would you have told me? We're done. Like, this is going to be 5-7 runs. Like, we're going to get blown up. This is going to be terrible, blah, 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 blah. Like, that wasn't the case. The starting pitching for the Brewers was very good. I thought very good. Not excellent. Not like Cy Young stuff, not like no-hitter stuff, but very good in this series. Limiting this Phillies team to, I believe, the only runs that the starting pitching technically gave up there was Bryce Wilson. I'm pretty darn sure on that one. I just wanted to double check there. But Bryce Wilson gave up 3 runs in his outing against the Phillies there on 6 hits. And then you look at the next game of the series there for Colin Ray. That was zeros. Colin Ray put up zeros across the board for the Brewers there after the opener, right? Canning did start it, and then Colin Ray came in. Ray gave up nothing across the board. And then you look at Aaron Ashby. Oh, that was my mistake. 5 runs. 5 runs in total between the starters because we did see Aaron Ashby give up that 2-run home run. So that was my mistake on that one. There was 5 runs given up in total by this Brewers starting pitching staff. I mean, against a pretty good Phillies lineup, hey, that ain't nothing to shake your head at, right? That's good work. That's solid work. That's doing what you got to do, right? And maybe limited innings, right? The bullpen's kind of being, used a lot simply because these starters aren't going deep at times. You could venture to say that. I'm not saying that the Brewers don't need to look at starting pitching at some point because I've said it all along. I was okay with Trevor Bauer. I was okay with, looking at the free agency pool and bringing in random guys to try and make something work. Zach Greinke, whoever you want, right? I don't care. I mean, something. Otherwise, making a trade, right? The White Sox are going to be open for business. I would assume the Oakland A's will be open for business again. The Miami Marlins, that's a team with some decent starting pitching. I've always loved that Edward Cabrera. I think he's got some nasty stuff down there for the Marlins. Pitcher for him, right-handed pitcher. I would be okay if the Brewers looked at him. There's a lot of good starters out there on teams that are struggling right now that I feel like you could jump on. The biggest things, the Mets are going to be another one who are going to be open for business. The biggest thing, though, is going to be you can't wait. You can't wait because you're going to have teams like the Yankees or the Orioles or the Guardians or the Dodgers or the Phillies who are going to be like, oh, yep, we got to make a postseason run. Let's quick Mariners, Royals, quick jumping in and saying, oh, well, we need to pick up this starting pitching and, this starting pitcher and this starting pitcher. Then the prices get higher and higher and higher, and now you have to trade away some good prospects just to grab a guy, right? And, I mean, would you want to wait? No, I don't think so. I think if you are sold that you need to add starting pitching, if you're going to do it through a trade, I think you need to go make a move. I really do. I think if you wait too long, it's going to be almost, you're not going to be able to outbid some of these better teams because the Brewers are high on prospects, right? And teams like the Yankees and the Orioles right now, or even, Guardians, I would venture to guess Dodgers really don't care and Phillies don't care right now. They'd be okay with trading away some of their better prospects to grab some good pitchers at this point. So, I mean, I wouldn't wait. I would not wait at all. Do the Brewers need a bat too? You know, I saw the name of Pete Alonso floated around again. Why? What is Pete Alonso going to give me that Reese doesn't already? You know, what is Pete Alonso going to give me that Gary Sanchez? Heck, I mean, Gary Sanchez, I was not very high on Gary Sanchez when the Brewers first, announced that they were signing him and that he made the opening day roster. I wasn't huge on him, but he's come up with a lot of clutch hits for the Brewers. Now, am I going to say he's come up with every single one? No, but he's come up with some clutch hits. So he's got the power. We know he has the power. So, I mean, is Pete Alonso going to give you that much more? He might hit 40 home runs, but if Gary Sanchez hits me 30 or even 25 and Rhys Hoskins gives me 30 plus, we're good. I mean, where are you going to put Pete Alonso then? Is Gary Sanchez's role just going to be diminished? I mean, where are you looking to add a guy like Pete Alonso into this lineup? So I'm not a fan of the Pete Alonso idea. I think there's a lot of good bats out there. I've always thought, if Chris Bryant didn't have such a big contract with the Colorado Rockies, I would think about him. I think he might still be injured. If I'm not mistaken, I think he is injured right now, which, I mean, that guy, after he left Chicago, you don't even hear about him anymore. Like, never. He's struggling this year, 186 average there, out there with Colorado. I believe he's still currently on the injured list. He was just placed on the injured list again. Rib cage injury. So just 2 hours ago, as I'm shooting this, that it was announced that he's going back on the injury list. So Chris Bryant's always been out. But I've always just thought about names like that, like the random guys sitting on not so good teams, the Rockies, or even a team like the A's. Maybe they trade a guy like Rooker. I don't know. That could be an interesting guy. Rooker out there with the A's, the way that owner works, it's like he wants to lose. So maybe they have a fire sale. Maybe the Astros, as bad as they've been this year to start, 28 and 35, not terribly far out of the top half of the AL because there's a lot of bad records all around the league right now. But I mean, if the Astros have a fire sale, there's a lot of good pieces there. There's a lot of good pitchers there. There's a lot of good pieces that could be talked about. Tampa Bay Rays are another team. I mean, the Boston Red Sox, they might be looking to make trades. There is a lot of talent out there. It's just going to be a matter of what does Matt Arnold feel like he needs? What does he feel like? What do we need on this Brewers team? Honestly, I look around the team. You could maybe add another bench guy with some pop or an average, right? But I look around the infield and I say, okay, Joey Ortiz has played well this year. Willie Adames is playing well this year. Bryce Terang's hitting well. Rhys Hoskins, he's giving you what Rhys Hoskins is going to. I believe once the dog days of summer start, he's going to start hitting the ball even more. William Contreras. Then you have the outfield with Yelich, and then you have Blake Perkins. I don't think you take him out of there. I think he's one of the best center fielders in the game. And then you look at right field there. Sal Frelick, Jackson Churro. I mean, could you improve it? Yeah, you could improve, but then what do you do with your boatload of outfielders, right? And, who's going to have to get moved, this and that. I could see adding a bench guy. Somebody who's going to give you pop and average off the bench. I know in a perfect world that'd be easy to ask for, but maybe that's something the Brewers venture towards. Outside of that, I think the lineup is just, it's a lot of inconsistency. Maybe you bring in a bat that you feel like is going to be a clutch bat for you, but I think it's one of those things where you just ride the wave with this team. I think they're a ride the wave team, and you just pray they get hot at the end, right? It's kind of where they're at right now. I mean, you look at the standings right now throughout the leagues, and you look at the National League, there's only 4 teams above 500, not 500 and below, above 500. The San Diego Padres are 500, and so are the Cubs. 31 and 31, 32 and 32 for the Padres. Outside of that, teams above 500, Atlanta Braves 34-25, the Brewers 36-26, Dodgers 38-25, and then the Phillies 44-19. So you have 4 teams who aren't sitting on that 500 line, right? But after that, everybody else is either 500 or below. That is, I mean, not something that I expected. There's a lot of struggling ball clubs, and some of them surprising. I mean, the Reds surprised me as much struggle as they've had. Same with the Marlins. The Diamondbacks are right there for me. And then, I mean, the Cubs and the Cardinals. I expected the Cubs and the Cardinals. The Cardinals are playing a little bit better, 5-5 in their last 10. You know, they've been getting better, but still sitting below that 500 mark right now, 13 and a half back of first place in the NL. They're still struggling. So it's not like this team is, firing on all cylinders. It's definitely surprising right now to see as many teams that are 500 and below right now in the NL. And it doesn't change much when you go over to the AL. I mean, you have some good teams at the top, the Yankees and the Guardians, followed by the Baltimore Orioles. Then the Royals, the Mariners, and the Twins all over 500. After that, it's 500 or below. You have the Tigers, Red Sox, and Rays all sitting at 500. And then you have the Rangers, Blue Jays, Astros, Athletics, Angels, and White Sox all sitting below that. So very interesting right now looking across both the AL and the NL to see as many teams below 500. That's baffling to me. That's baffling to me. So, I mean, like I said, it's going to be interesting, over the next couple weeks where the Brewers go with the starting pitching staff, where they go with other pieces in the organization. Maybe they try to bring guys up. Maybe they send some guys down. You never know. You never know with this Brewers team. But with that, before we move on, I want to get to the Packers a little bit here before we get to the end. But before I get there, I want to mention some sponsors of the show here quick. First, Game Day Supply in Alaska. Do you have a sports club or team? Are you looking for some sweet custom uniforms or apparel? Check out the awesome crew at Game Day Supply in Alaska to help your team get the sweetest gear. Find them on Facebook at Game Day Supply or online at GameDaySupply.net. Also, Marshfield Motor Speedways, located just 3 miles outside of Marshfield on County Road H. You got to get down there this summer. Tons of family fun for all ages. Great food, great drinks, great atmosphere. You can't beat a great weekend at the track. So find the schedule on Facebook or online. Just search Marshfield Motor Speedways. Otherwise, go to my Facebook page. I make sure I share their schedule and any updates to the schedule there on the Facebook page of Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Also, Pittsville Farm and Home Center. At the store, they serve you anything from hydraulic hoses to red roses. Stop in and see the awesome crew at Pittsville Farm and Home Center in Pittsville, Wisconsin. Your hometown team, Century 21 Gold Key Realty. Call Peggy Sue or Anna to find your dream home or if you're looking to sell. Find them on Facebook at your hometown team, Century 21 Gold Key Realty, or stop in and see them at their location in Marshfield. Also, Sports Scene Sports Cards and Memorabilia, located in the Marshfield Mall in Marshfield, Wisconsin. You got to get down there and see Al. He has everything you need, from sporting cards to memorabilia, jerseys, model stock cars. He's got it all. Sports Scene in Marshfield, Wisconsin. And also Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin. If you've been injured recently, whether it was mowing the lawn or picking weeds or whatever it was, and you need some physical therapy, stop in there in Greenwood and see Chad. He'll get you right. He'll get you back to mowing, back to picking, whatever it is. He'll get you back there. Sport and Spine Clinic in Greenwood, Wisconsin there. But with that, I want to get to the Packers chatter. The little bit of Packers chatter that I've been hearing as of late here. So right away, I look at what if you have a major concern for the Packers. I'm not really concerned about this Packers team yet. I think with Heffley coming in for the defense, I think the Packers defense gets, exceptionally better. I really do. I think they get more aggressive. I think they get after guys. I love the mentality that he is going to bring to the Packers defense. If there had to be something that concerned me with Green Bay, what does Jordan Love give me in his second year, right? His full second year as a starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. We saw year one, little bumpy to start, right? Week one was fantastic. After that, some good games, sprinkled in there. And then it was the up and downs, right? The up and downs. Then we got to that like midway point, the Lions game, and Jordan Love and the offense just exploded. And then it carried throughout the rest of the season, got into the playoffs, lost to the one-seeded 49ers there by 3. Decision-making at the end of that was bad by Jordan Love. Again, first-year starter. First time in that situation, the pressure might have got to him there. But so my only question, I guess the only question mark I would have then is, what does he give me year 2? Year 2 as the full-time starter. What does he give me within the offense to make it work? Because we know we have playmakers, right? You got Jaden Reed. You have Romeo Dobbs. You're going to have Dontavian Wicks coming back. You're going to have Bo Melton in there. You're going to have Christian Watson in there. You're going to have Josh Jacobs now. Emmanuel Wilson's going to be healthy. And then you're going to have other pieces sprinkled in there. A.J. Dillon is going to be sprinkled in there. And then you look at, some of the rookies on this team right now, all up. The playmakers are there. The offensive line looks on paper to be solid. It's hard to find the holes, right? Linebacker for the Packers, Isaiah McDuffie. You're going to have Quay Walker in there. You're going to have Ed Sheeran Cooper is going to be in there now. So you're going to have... I'm not saying there isn't going to be question marks throughout this team with the youth that they still do possess. They're still young, right? They're one of the youngest teams in football yet. They're still relatively young. I just don't, I'm not worried. I don't feel the worry. Yeah, the Bears got Caleb Williams, Justin Jefferson staying in the league longer, or staying with Minnesota longer. Like, I just don't feel. I feel like the Packers are fine. So that was my first thing. Was just I want to know from you guys. Leave a review, leave a comment on the Facebook page, shoot me a message on Facebook, whatever it is, and just how do you feel about the Packers? Are you worried about, are there some things you're worried about? Are you, confident in this team that, there might be some holes here and there, what team doesn't have a hole they're going to have holes at some, in some positions, but are you worried, or do you think, are you confident heading in with this Green Bay team? So, right now, in other Jordan Love news, we're seeing Brian Gutekunst. He did come out and he said they're aiming to strike a new deal with Jordan Love ahead of the 2024 training camp. He said, we're in those conversations right now. Both parties want the same thing, and we'd like to get this done before training camp for sure. Both parties want to get contract extension done. That stability at that position really allows you to have some security with the way we want to build our team. So we're looking forward to getting that done, but it never goes fast. So the process has started. I just don't know how much he's going to make. Jared Goff's deal, I think, screwed the entire thing up. You have Brock Purdy in a contract year. Dak's probably going to get an extension. Looking at Tua, he'll probably get an extension there. There's a couple of quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence, I believe, is due for an extension. So there's a couple quarterbacks sprinkled in there that are going to be resetting the market. And is Jordan Love going to be one of those guys? Could we see it? Maybe, right? I don't want to say I'm worried about Jordan Love because I have the utmost confidence. Like I was the biggest downer on him last year at the start of it. You guys know that if you've listened for long enough, you know I was a downer on him. But, he proved me wrong in the second half of the year. Showed confidence in the playoffs going to Dallas. Showed confidence in the game against 49ers. Lacked a little bit of understanding of the situation late against the 49ers, trying to make too much happen with timeouts on a first down. Trying to make too much happen. But outside of that, he was, stat-wise, one of the better quarterbacks last season. You look at his numbers, he had numbers comparable, if not better in some categories, to C.J. Stroud, who everybody is talking about big time now. So, if you take that into perspective, does he worry you as much? I'm not going to say that I'm completely worried. Like, I have the utmost confidence that Jordan Love is going to be a good quarterback. Now, is he going to be exceptional? That's still, we're going to wait and see, right? What are the odds Packers get 3 Hall of Fame quarterbacks in a row? I don't know. We're going to find out, right? It was crazy. It was 2. Now we potential for 3. That's wild. That's crazy. So could we see that now? It very well could be. I saw plays last year where it was like, wow, this guy makes some good plays. Also, some plays where it's like, oh, made the throw, but Matt LaFleur drew up a fantastic play that got a guy wide open. But now, you look at guys, who have been in the league for a while now, and you look at defensive coordinators, the book is kind of open now, right, on Jordan Love. Now it's going to be all about talent. Can he make the plays? They know what Jordan Love likes to do. They know his tendencies a little bit, right? So throwing guys off, trying to, manipulate and make things happen on the field, that's going to be a big thing heading into his year 2 as a starter. Now that guys have seen him, defensive coordinators, you're on the schedule. They're going to prepare for you. They know what they're looking for. It's going to make it a little bit tougher. So now year 2, we're going to see what Jordan Love is made of, right? We're going to see, some of those little, maybe a mistake here and there, but how does he bounce back from those mistakes? How does he make things happen on the football field? That's going to be the big thing to watch out for. So I feel like you're going to have to lock him up now. You don't have a choice, right? He's in that contract year now. He's going to become a free agent otherwise, and the Packers will have to pay top dollar if he has a good year to bring him in. So it feels like it's kind of a tie your hands, make the thing happen, and we're going to hope, right? We're going to hope that he ends up as an exceptional quarterback who can compete for Super Bowls, right? That's all you can hope for out of that situation. Outside of that, Jordan Love did have a quote coming out of one of the mini camps there. He said, I think you don't have to have a number 1 wide receiver. I think it works out well when you can spread the ball out and you got different guys making different plays and you can put them in different areas. I completely agree with that. That was him saying that is just everybody else talking, where they said last year the Packers had a really spread out offense. Jaden Reed, Dobbs, Dontavian Wicks, everybody putting up big numbers, depending on the game or whatever it was. Reed would put up good numbers this game. Then it was Dobbs, then it was Wicks, and then it was Bo Melton. You saw different pieces being mixed in and out of there that were putting up big numbers for Green Bay. So to have that mentality that, hey, I don't need that number 1 guy. I can make things work with having a bunch of on the edge of being number 1s or number 2 guys. I love that. I love the ability, like he said, to spread the ball around. That was the biggest downfall of Aaron Rodgers, I always said, was that he was so heavily reliant on throwing to one guy that Jordan Love sticking with this kind of mentality where I'm going to look all over the field, make my reads, and throw to the open receiver, not try to force it into any, star receiver. I love that. I love that out of him there. Josh Jacobs, he was also quoted, and he said, when you've got a young group that wants to make a name for themselves, you've got a group of guys that got a little edge, and they're willing to listen and willing to do a little bit more. I think that's just the special thing about this place. I love that. Josh Jacobs just coming in, relatively one of the older guys, right, on this offense here, and basically telling them, like, hey, this is a team with a chip on their shoulder. They saw where they can get to, where they got to last year. They know where the goal is now, right? It's NFC championship game. It's Super Bowl, right? Now the expectations are higher. They got the chip on their shoulder from last year. I think this is a team that's driven, and Josh Jacobs is telling you right there. I think getting him into an atmosphere like that, having a big back like him to bust some plays open, you got to love it there. I saw A.J. Dillon. And he looks like he slimmed up a lot slimmer. And, man, oh, man, I didn't think the guy could get any bigger, but he looks like he gained some – it looks like he got slimmer and gained some muscle mass on top of that there. So, A.J. Dillon, maybe he's primed up and ready to rock for this upcoming season here. And, looking at a couple of the rookie contracts that were signed, the Packers did finally sign Javion Bullard there, a fantastic safety. This dude is going to be I think he's going to be a monster for the Green Bay Packers. They signed him for a 4-year contract. Looking at the contract details, $6,706,132 there. The signing bonus is $1,676,533. He's set to have a base salary of $795,000 there in 2024, $1,000,000 just about 1,125,000, 1,400,000 there in 26, and 1,700,000 there in 27. Not saying those are exact numbers, just around it there. I didn't want to read any more big numbers there. Total guaranteed is $3,735,287. Includes 24 and 25 bases, fully guaranteed, part of 26 guaranteed there for Bullard. So I love getting him locked up. I think he's going to be a huge playmaker for the Green Bay Packers, along with the other guy that I have the contract details on, and that is Edgerrin Cooper there. He signed a 4-year deal worth $8,598,920, a basically $3,100,000 signing bonus there. Base salary of $795,000 for 24. About $1,200,000 there for 25, $1,600,000 for 26, and about $2 million there in 27. Same with Bullard there, 24 and 25. The bases are guaranteed. The $1,513,655 of 2026 base is guaranteed for him there. So Packers get two big name rookies signed up there in that rookie class, and all things are looking up for him there. All things are looking up. So, Brewers, they're in an off day today. Off day today for the Brewers, so nothing to talk about. Game coming up tonight. They'll pick up the series over the weekend there with the Tigers. So, we're going to be looking at that series here tomorrow on the show. Probably find some more stuff to talk Packers-wise. Maybe Badgers, whatever the heck's going on over there at the Badgers. Haven't looked at the Badgers in a while, so maybe we got to look over in that direction. Lots we could get into on the show tomorrow, and we definitely will. But with that, that's about all I got for today. You know, it was a great show. Great show today. Thank you for listening. It was fantastic. But this has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Thursday. But until I talk to you guys again tomorrow, deuces.
Yeah, oh my Lord, watch me sway. Darkness falls and we all pray, hoping for the light of day. Down to the river I have held the devil's hand, felt the weight of my own sin, burdened by the heart of man. Down to the river, down to the river.